Here we are again, guys. We are reviewing the latest match week in the Premier League. Match week number 2, starting off with West Ham losing 5-1 at home to Chelsea. Again, the follow button is flashing. You know what that means. Make sure you subscribe and make sure whilst you're here as well, if you're not going to leave a comment, at least leave a like. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think is going to happen in match week 3 and what was your favourite game that you watched in match week 2. I'm going to reveal mine at the end. So let's talk about West Ham against Chelsea. It was, oof. I think West Ham are in big trouble. They started off so well. What a goal from Paqueta. That was incredible. And of course, an offside goal as well. Very unlucky. VAR ruling it as offside correctly, of course. But Chelsea, once they kind of got going, and to be fair, they settled into the game quite well in the first half in a period of dominance, really. It was never, ever in West Ham's control. Look at the state of their defence. 5.1, 4.3, 5.1. And then Hermansen might have the worst opening few weeks I've ever seen for a Premier League club. I actually think he's really good. I always remember when we were up against him at the Emirates against Leicester and he was just saving everything. But yeah, not a good start for West Ham. I think their midfield of Souček and Ward-Prowse is championship level. And I'm sorry, I love Ward-Prowse. He's a free kick maestro. And Souček, I mean, a couple of years ago, Souček was genuinely a real threat and a top player. But it's just not working as a midfield duo there, is it? And Paqueta obviously isn't defensive enough, maybe. It's not looking good for West Ham. As for Chelsea, you know, it's going to be an interesting season, seeing how they rotate players in and out. They've got a massive squad. They've got a good few players for each position. João Pedro, what a signing he's been already. Caicedo and Fernandes looking to build on last season. Of course, defensively, with the injury to Colwill, are they going to bring someone in there? We'll see. Esteval on the right side looking like a very good young player. He already looks so just ready. It's as if he's been in the Premier League already before. It's pretty mind-blowing, isn't it? How good these young players can be these days. But my takeaway from this is Chelsea are absolutely going to be right up there in the top 4 come the end of the season. They could genuinely be up there in the top 3. It really depends on form and injuries. And my other takeaway is West Ham aren't going to be in the Premier League next season at this rate. They really aren't. They've got, a week now until the end of the transfer window. If they don't bring in 2 or 3 players, I think they're in big trouble. And the quicker they drop Füllkrug, the better. He is just, not good. Let's move on to Man City versus Tottenham. Again, follow, subscribe. It's not my fault, okay? It's really annoying. They still haven't fixed it. I don't think anyone really expected this to happen, but when you look at the stats, this is not uncommon. Tottenham love playing against Man City. It's a true bogey team for Man City. They just weren't very good. And of course, you could argue it was an error on the second goal and the first goal. I mean, maybe they could have done better defensively as well. Johnson's acceleration. Wow, he's so quick. So quick. I think Tottenham, and I've already mentioned Tottenham being kind of underdogs this season. I think they're going to have a much better season. It can't be much worse than last year. Otherwise, they'd be relegated, of course, finishing in 17th. I mean, wow. Obviously, massive injury problems. And of course, recruitment-wise, although they've done well in some areas, they've really missed out on some key players. If Richarlison has a good season, I think him and Solanke can add goals, and obviously Kudus coming in, very good. Palhinha is a great loan deal. If they get him, I think it's a permanent deal in the summer. It's an obligation, potentially. Look, what I'm trying to say is Tottenham are going to be much better this season, for sure. Man City, it's still early. I don't know how I feel about Man City this season, because I was expecting them to hit the ground running at the start of the season, when actually they haven't been too hot. I think the Wolves game, they were impressive. Okay, so it's easy to forget that they absolutely dominated in their first game, but it was against a side that are going to struggle a lot this season. And then they've come up against a Tottenham side with new management, a few new players. You can tell they're so much better in defence now. They're a different outfit. and they just didn't look like they had any real control on the game. We can have a look at the momentum here, and you'll see there are moments where they were dominating, but Tottenham, as they always seem to be at the Etihad, were just a real threat. It's going to be an interesting watch to see how City get on this season. Are they going to be right up there at the end of this season, or is it going to be Arsenal and Liverpool that are just the two-horse race at the top? Are Chelsea going to overtake Man City, or are Man City going to recover form, get Rodri back in the team soon? We'll see. Up next, we've got Bournemouth against Wolves. Again, Wolves not having a very good match week. I'm not saying they're going to get relegated, but it isn't looking great, is it? They're certainly one of the teams that will be down fighting in that bottom 6, bottom 5. I think it's going to be quite close this season. Bournemouth, despite obviously having lost their opening game against Liverpool, and I thought actually at times they looked good, and having lost so many of their defensive players, they're doing really well. They are a great side. Iraola's a fantastic manager. And, you know, I really like some of their individual players. I think they could definitely do with a new right back. Massive respect to Smith, but he's obviously aging. He's 34 now. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea to use him as your main starting right back, but who knows what they're going to do there. Semenyo always gives them a chance. Tavernier's fantastic. I love Scott as well. Evan Nilsson up front, I'm still very undecided about him. He doesn't seem to be like an elite finisher, but he's athletic, he's strong, he's a nuisance, and Wolves could not handle. I mean, I think Wolves are going to really, really need to. It depends if they keep Strand Larsen. They just don't seem to score. They need to get more firepower. Obviously, losing Gomez and going down to 10 men really didn't help just after halftime. But Bournemouth definitely deserved to win that game. Brentford against Villa. Villa, honestly, wow. I got a little bit of heat for saying that this season they're going to really struggle, and actually I don't think they're going to make it into Europe. Is this evidence that I might be onto something here? But then again, I got my Brentford prediction potentially very wrong. I know we're only 2 weeks in, or this is just round 2, match week 2, but Brentford looks so much better than I expected. Just so people realise, okay, and by the way, Damsgaard, wow, unbelievable. What people might not realise, Keith Andrews, the new manager that's taken over at Brentford, is a set-piece coach. And they've given him the reins. He is now manager, head coach. It's unbelievable, really. Bringing in Henderson in the summer, of course. He started this game, came off after 69 minutes. Utara, fantastic bit of business there from Bournemouth. Got his first goal for the club and got man of the match. He won them the game. Sharda, we have all heard of him. I've obviously used him in my career modes. He's absolutely rapid. Do you know what? I'm going to make a bit of an out there prediction. Tone will come back. You heard it here first. Tone will come back. I'm not going to change my prediction because I think all it's going to take is 1 or 2 poor results and you could see Brentford start to really slip. And before you know it, Keith Andrews, you know, he's going to be under a lot of pressure if he doesn't keep this up now. And by the way, Lewis Potter at left back. Really? Not sure about that one. Now, big problems at Aston Villa. I feel sorry for them a little bit because the end of last season was obviously horrific for them. And the difference between just 1 or 2 positions has cost them so much. They've got European football to worry about. They've obviously got a lot of fixtures and they don't have the biggest squad. And they seemingly can't really spend money because of PSR. It's a really, really difficult situation to be in. And a couple of their players could be still on their way out. You're hearing bids of Rodgers, bids for Watkins. And I'm looking at their bench. You know, we're seeing Buendia come on. He's obviously come off again then. Matson, I mean, on his day, he was really good. I don't know what's happened there. Marlon, Bogard, Gesand. It's just... don't have a good feeling for Aston Villa this year, but they're still going to be, you know, a good side. I just don't think they're going to be pushing for Europa League, for example. I think Conference League is maybe more realistic for them this season, but of course, it's still very early days. Burnley against Sunderland. I've said it a few times. Sunderland are my second team this season. I'm rooting for them to stay up. And unfortunately, they have fallen. I mean, It's not good enough. It isn't. Burnley away is a game they have to win. It's simply put a must-win game for them. They need to win these matches. I think Sunderland are going to stay up purely based on home form. I think they're going to be really difficult to beat. At the Stadium of Light, of course, they thrashed a very poor West Ham side 3-0 at home. But then to lose 2-0 at Burnley. Now, I didn't see the game live, so I thought, well, I need to see what happened. They lost Ballard in the first 10 minutes, which, I mean, any team losing their best defender, central defender, is going to struggle. So that really didn't help. And then they missed some absolute sitters. They could have easily been 2-0 up at half-time. And that, unfortunately, is going to be the death of Sunderland. If they don't put their chances away, like any promoted side, not just Sunderland, but you've just got to put your chances away. You have to be so clinical if you're going to stay in this Premier League as a newly promoted side, because chances don't come as often, okay? In the Championship, you're getting tons of chances, loads of opportunities to score. It's much harder in the Premier League. Of course, they've spent an obscene amount of money, and they've brought in an obscene amount of players, and there's no guarantee they're all going to gel. But it's looking good for Sunderland. Based off the first two games, a win and a loss, they've still got a positive goal difference. And I think they would have taken one win in their first two games. I genuinely think they would have taken that. So, building blocks, I think they're going to be fine this season. I truly do believe that. As for Burnley, they were very impressive in that second half. We can have a look at the momentum graph here. Well, actually, it doesn't look like they were that great, does it? But from what I could see in the highlights, they created some good chances and they just buried them. They put them away. Defensively, they're going to be probably better than they are on the attack. They are a more defensive side. And of course, Scott Parker, I mean, last season, they were absolute bricks at the back, weren't they? A brick house at the back. But I still think Burnley are my favourites to be bottom come the end of the season. That's just my thoughts. I don't need to talk about the Arsenal game too much. Of course, I was there and I've released 2 videos. Please do go back onto the channel, watch Operation Arsenal, and then you can also watch my match day vlog experience where I was at the stadium to watch. I mean, look at that. Unbelievable. We absolutely decimated them. So, yeah, great win for Arsenal. Palace versus Nottingham. I was really looking forward to this game. I should say Nottingham Forest, not just Nottingham. I can't remember what the nickname they gave this game. This is obviously two teams that have kind of been at war over the summer over the placement into European competitions. Of course, Nottingham Forest have taken Crystal Palace's spot in the Europa League. So there's some bad blood there. And it was a fantastic football game. I was fully expecting it to be a fight. There was some feistiness for sure, some banners in the crowd that I won't lie. I did laugh at a little bit. I feel for the Palace fans because it's just a load of rubbish, isn't it? It really is. They should be swapped, in my opinion. I know it's obviously not going to happen now, but excuse me. In terms of the actual game itself, it was really good to watch. I think even though Eze's left Crystal Palace and we might still see Guehi leave as well, they're going to be great fun to watch. I absolutely love the right-hand side of Palace with Munoz, Sarr, and then Mateta up front, of course, is great to watch. But it's all about Wharton for me. Adam Wharton is going to play for a top club. He will be gone next season. I think that's going to be really difficult for Palace. They can lose Eze and maybe they'll be okay. But if they lose Guehi and Wharton as well in the space of 1 year, that's tough. That's really tough. But I thought they played very well, especially in the first half, and maybe deserved to win the game overall. But Nottingham Forest, I think some people are predicting, including myself, a much tougher second season after the great success of last season. It's massive they've held on to Gibbs White. Obviously, he was linked with the Tottenham move, which fell apart. I mean, it's quite funny, really. But to have Hudson-Odoi on that left side, of course, Alanga's gone, but Ndoi's come in and he's done well. Goal and an assist so far this season. A great defence. Aina, Williams, and of course, Murillo, Milenkovic. It's a fantastic back four with a great goalkeeper. I'm not sold on Sangaré in midfield. Elliot Anderson's fantastic. I have a feeling that might be a position that's up for grabs. They've just signed Douglas Luiz from Juventus, so I think he'll be going in next to Elliot Anderson. I really like the Nottingham Forest team, but I don't necessarily like what's been going on off the pitch. I don't like what's happening to Nuno. He could be on his way out, and I hope that's not true. Two good teams for sure. I think Nottingham Forest are probably still going to finish above Palace this year, but I don't think either of them are going to be pushing for Europe. Everton against Brighton, the first game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Couldn't they have thought of a better name? Hill Dickinson. Yeah, just popping up to the Dick Stadium. Brighton, what's going on? Little bit concerning that they've done so well, statistically speaking, but have lost 2-0. I think the difference in this match, from what I could tell, was Grealish, quite literally. 2 assists for Grealish, Njai and Garner scoring the 2 goals. But the story of the game was all about the new stadium. And I'm going to be honest, Everton fans, you might find that this is not fair of me to say, but I think a lot of people will agree. There's something about Goodison Park. There's a magic there, and it's obviously really sad that that's no longer there. I think the new stadium is obviously a huge upgrade facilities-wise, but the look of it, the feel of it, is loud. They've designed it to be very loud. The way the metal kind of hangs over, the seats are at I think it's the highest slant they can have legally or something. So they've built it with noise in mind. But it just it doesn't look like Everton. I know we'll get used to it. We'll get used to it. But what a way to kick off their home games of the season. Unbelievable. Massive win. Pickford man of the match. Grealish probably deserved it as well. I think Everton are going to have a much, much better season. Away from home, I worry. At home, if they can make it a fortress, they're going to be tough to beat there. But of course, the hype will die down. I think whoever came to that stadium for the first game was going to struggle just because of the hype. You know, the stadium would have been absolutely on fire regardless. If they can keep that going, because moving stadium is not easy. Some clubs really struggle when they do that. Everton, for me, they're an absolute Premier League certainty. They cannot go down, and they will not go down. As for Brighton, just relax. It's not a good start, but they will come good. They've recruited well. They've held on to Belieber, which is huge. But Mitoma needs a better season. I think he's gone very quiet over the last year and a half or so. There was a period where everyone saw how good he was, and he just hasn't been able to recover that. But they have such a good squad. They'll be absolutely fine. Fulham versus Manchester United. This was a very good watch. It was a hate watch, I won't lie. Watching Man United fail always brings happiness, because for me, growing up as an Arsenal fan, it was always Arsenal, Manchester United. It was such a huge rivalry, and it's obviously not the case these days. Fulham, honestly, so unlucky to concede the way they did. They should have won this game. They should have. Manchester United, whilst they played well against Arsenal, lost the game. And now they obviously dropped points against Fulham. It's really, really going to be a struggle again. And, you know, you look at some of the stats. Amorim's but he's managed 29 Premier League games with Manchester United, and they've had 28 points. More games than points. And if you look at that, 29 games, you know, it's 9 games short of a full season. Let's say it averaged out, as it is right now, you're looking at just about surviving a Premier League 38-game season with that record. It's horrific. He won't be at the club at Christmas if this continues. I don't know who they're playing next. They've got to win. Does it say at the bottom here who they're playing? They've got Grimsby in the EFL Cup, but it doesn't show the one after. Not that I really care. I think it's hilarious. Ditch the 3-4-3. I know he loves it, but there's got to be a point where you think, is it working? Bruno Fernandes has to be higher up the pitch. So if you're playing a 3-4-3, he has to play in these positions here. But they're not going to do that with Sesko. Obviously, they've spent 200 million on a front three. This doesn't work. In my opinion, drop it. Swallow your pride. Go back to a 4-2-3-1. And then lastly, oh my God, what a game this was. It was another hate watch, of course. I would have loved Liverpool to have lost this game, but realistically, I don't want Newcastle winning either. Newcastle were incredible. The fact that this is against the current champions, with a lot of hype, having spent massive amounts of money on Wirtz and Ekitike, and 2-0 down, red card, you're thinking there's absolutely no way. They could have won this game and probably should have won this game. But then right at the end, Rio Ngumoha. I'm probably butchering it, but yeah, just unbelievable from the 16-year-old to come on and score like that. Very, very, very undeserved win, in my opinion. I think if you're 2-0 up and you're up against 10 men, there's no excuse to not win that game. So they've managed to do it, and that shows some mental fortitude, just like Arsenal did at Old Trafford, winning while not necessarily deserving the win or playing particularly well. Salah, again, out of nowhere, getting a goal or an assist. He gets his assist. Wirtz has had a really tough start. I know he might need some adaptation time, but other signings are getting a lot of abuse and a lot of critique. Gyökeres, for example. Wirtz doesn't seem to be catching the same strays. He's been terrible. He's been really poor, I think. But then again, you look at Ekitike, he's been brilliant. But for me, the player of the season so far has been Gakpo. Genuinely, Liverpool have not been that great. Bournemouth was good win in the end. They didn't play particularly well. And Newcastle, they've scraped through. But in both games, Gakpo has been top. But quickly, on that Gordon red card, it's a horrific challenge. He had to go. Why? Why? Why would you do that? And Elanga needs 99 pace in FC26. Ridiculously quick. So let's finish off the video. Match week 2. Having a look at the table. Would you look at that? Arsenal top of the league. Tottenham in second. Liverpool in third, having conceded 4 goals, by the way. Something to really keep an eye on. I think Liverpool defensively look suspect. They really do. Van Dijk and Konate. Arsenal are in at Anfield next. It could be an interesting game, that one. Chelsea in 4th. And then obviously at the bottom, we've got West Ham, Wolves, Brighton, Villa, Manchester United. Still haven't won a game, of course. Aston Villa. Oh, my God. They've got Crystal Palace next. So Manchester United play Burnley. They've got to win against Burnley at home. But you know what? They're not going to, are they? They're actually not going to. And can I just say, before we end, the fact that we've done Old Trafford already and we're about to do Anfield, in just the first 3 games, to have 2 really tough, like mentally for Arsenal, those are the 2 stadiums we really have a mental block at. To have them done after 3 games, and the fact that even if we lose at Anfield, which, you know, it's not unlikely, we could very easily lose that game. I'm not sure we'll win it. We might draw, but we could lose it, and it's okay because you just get the game out of the way. You know, there's no insane pressure. It's not like a 6-pointer. So I'm quite happy it'll be done. And this is the time to play them. They haven't looked particularly good. We're going to score. We're going to score at Anfield. So really excited to be watching that one live. I'll be streaming it at the weekend. I think it's on Sunday. And then, of course, the review. And if you guys want me to keep doing match week reviews, I'll be back for the 3rd one if you like it. Just leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time.